She thought she had married a quiet miracle. That was the phrase Elena Voss used in her private journal the night she realized she loved Daniel Harper, not the public love, not the polished smile she wore in boardrooms, but the steady, grounding kind that made the world feel less sharp. Daniel was an ordinary dad by every visible measure. He packed lunches with military precision, sandwiches cut exactly in half, apples sliced, a note folded into the corner like an afterthought. He attended school plays and sat in the back, clapping politely, never drawing attention. He worked part-time as a logistics coordinator for a regional shipping company, always home by 6, always ready to help with homework or fix a leaky faucet. When Elena married him, the tabloids had a field day for a week. The CEO of Voss Dynamics, brilliant, ice-calm, rumored to eat competitors for breakfast, had married a widower with a 10-year-old son and a modest paycheck. Analysts speculated. Friends warned. Her board raised eyebrows behind closed doors. But Daniel never flinched. He didn't ask for her jet. He didn't want her money. He didn't even care much for the penthouse she owned downtown, preferring the smaller house near the park where his son, Noah, could ride his bike. Daniel said things like, "It's quieter here," and meant it. He said, "I've had enough noise for one lifetime," and Elena assumed he meant grief. Because Daniel didn't talk about his past. Elena knew the basics. He'd grown up in a small town. Joined the military young. Married his high school sweetheart. Lost her to illness. Left the service years ago. That was it. No medals on the wall. No war stories. No haunted stares into the distance, at least none she could catch. At night, when Elena worked late, Daniel would fall asleep on the couch with a book on his chest, glasses slightly crooked, the lamp still on. He looked gentle. Safe. Ordinary. That was why she almost laughed the first time someone from her security team mentioned Daniel's name in a hushed tone. It happened after a minor incident, an attempted breach at a Voss Dynamics satellite facility overseas. Elena was reviewing reports when Marcus, her head of security, paused mid-sentence. He said carefully, "Does your husband go by Daniel Harper exclusively?" Elena didn't look up. Yes. Why? Marcus hesitated. No middle initial. No prior aliases. She frowned. Aliases? Marcus, my husband coordinates shipping schedules. What are you asking? Marcus swallowed. Nothing. Probably nothing. But he didn't look convinced. Elena confronted Daniel that evening in the kitchen, the smell of garlic and onions filling the air. He was cooking pasta, humming softly, sleeves rolled up. The picture of domestic calm. "Did you ever use another name?" she asked, trying to sound casual. Daniel's humming stopped for half a second. Then resumed. "Lots of people have nicknames," he said. "That's not what I mean." He stirred the sauce, slow and steady. "Elena, if there's something you want to ask, just ask it." She studied his back, the relaxed posture, the old scar near his elbow she'd never asked about. "My security chief asked me if you had aliases." Daniel turned then. His eyes were kind, but there was something else there too, an alertness that hadn't been before, like a switch flipped quietly inside him. He smiled, small and careful. "I used a call sign once. Long time ago." She waited. He didn't continue. "Do I need to know more?" she asked. Daniel stepped closer, kissed her forehead, and said, "Only if it ever matters." She let it go. Love was built on trust, and Daniel had never given her a reason to doubt him. Until the night it mattered. It was raining hard when the convoy was ambushed. Elena was returning from a late meeting, her car flanked by security, city lights blurring through the downpour. The explosion came from the left, controlled, precise. The driver swerved. Shouts filled the vehicle. Gunfire cracked against metal. Chaos. Elena's heart hammered as she was pulled from the car, shoved behind a door, someone yelling into a radio. She tasted fear, sharp and unfamiliar. Then she heard a voice she recognized. "Marcus," Daniel said, calm as a Sunday morning. "Get her down. Now." Elena turned, disbelief freezing her in place. Daniel stood in the rain, soaked through, a look on his face she had never seen, focused, ruthless, utterly unafraid. He moved like the storm belonged to him. "How did you?" she began. "Later," he said. He took control without asking. Gave orders. Predicted movements. Disarmed an attacker with brutal efficiency that made her stomach drop. Within minutes, it was over. Sirens wailed in the distance. Daniel knelt in front of her, hands gentle as he checked her for injuries. "You okay?" She nodded, unable to speak. Marcus stared at Daniel like he was seeing a ghost. "Sir," he said quietly, "I didn't realize you were." Daniel shook his head once. Sharp. Final. "Not here." That night, Elena couldn't sleep. Daniel sat at the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, the weight of years pressing down on him. "You were never ordinary," she said softly. He exhaled. "I tried to be." Daniel didn't want to talk, not at first. He made coffee in the morning like nothing had changed. Packed Noah's lunch. Kissed Eleanor's cheek. But the world had shifted, and Elena felt it in every glance, every pause. So she waited until their house was quiet, until Noah was at a friend's, until the afternoon light slanted low and honest. "Tell me," she said. Daniel sat across from her at the table. For a long time, he said nothing. Then he nodded. "I wasn't logistics," he began. "Not really. That was just the last job they gave me before I left." He told her about units that didn't exist on paper. About missions that never made the news. About leadership earned in silence and lost in paperwork. He spoke without pride, without drama, as if recounting someone else's life. "I left because I was tired," he said. "Tired of being needed only when things broke. Tired of bringing more home in my head." "And me?" Elena asked. "Was I part of the escape?" He looked at her then, eyes steady. "You were the future." The board found out soon enough. So did investors. Whispers turned into questions, questions into headlines. The CEO married a former special operations commander. The ordinary dad wasn't ordinary at all. Elena watched Daniel navigate it with the same quiet grace he brought to everything else. He refused interviews. Declined consulting offers that promised obscene amounts of money. He kept packing lunches. One evening, Elena came home exhausted, her company under pressure, enemies circling closer now that they knew who stood beside her. She found Daniel in the backyard with Noah, teaching him how to tie a knot. Patient. Present. "You could help me," she said later. "Officially. With your experience, your mind." Daniel shook his head gently. "I already am helping you." "How?" He smiled. "By coming home alive. By raising a good man. By reminding you why you're fighting so hard." Elena leaned into him, finally understanding. Power didn't always announce itself. Sometimes it washed dishes. Sometimes it waited in the rain. The CEO had thought she married an ordinary dad. What she had married was a man who had survived 1,000 invisible battles, and chosen, every day, to lay his weapons down for love.